The door slams shut. Not gently. Not like a normal door. This one hits like a hammer. Boom. The sound echoes down the hallway like a warning shot. A foreign man stands frozen in place, sweat dripping down his neck. His hands are shaking even though he's trying to act tough. The guard doesn't speak English. He doesn't need to, because the look in his eyes says everything. You're not leaving. The prisoner turns his head slowly and sees the hallway ahead. It's long, narrow, dim. The air smells like old sweat, dirty water, and fear. Somewhere in the distance, a man is screaming. Not yelling. Screaming. Like something is happening that he cannot stop. The foreign man takes one step forward. Then another. The guard pushes him from behind. Art. He stumbles and almost falls. And then, he sees them. Men sitting against the wall, watching him. Not smiling. Not laughing. Just staring like hungry animals who haven't eaten in days. One prisoner whispers something in Thai. Another man chuckles softly. Then someone mutters in broken English. Welcome. Bangkok Hilton. The foreign man swallows hard. Because he knows that nickname. Tourists joke about it. People online laugh about it. But standing here inside this filthy hallway, it doesn't feel like a joke. Feels like a death sentence. Then the guard points at a dark cell entrance. Inside it's packed. Bodies pressed together. No space. No privacy. No mercy. And right before he's shoved in, the foreign man hears one last thing. A quiet voice behind him says, "If you sleep, they take." The guard grabs him by the shirt and throws him forward. The cell swallows him whole. And the door slams shut behind him. Boom. Now he's inside. And whatever happens next, no one outside will hear him. No one will save him. Because this is not just a prison. This is Thailand's most feared cage. The Bangkok Hilton. And once you enter, you don't come out the same. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy true crime stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who'd find it interesting. Go back to the beginning. It didn't start with screaming. It didn't start with blood. It started with a plane landing in Thailand. A place known for beaches, nightlife, street food, and bright neon lights. A place where tourists smile. Where the air smells like grilled meat and motorbike smoke. Where people think danger is far away. Until it isn't. His name was Daniel Carter. 32 years old. From the United Kingdom. Not a criminal. Not a gangster. Not someone who grew up fighting. Daniel was just a normal man who wanted a fresh start. He had lost his job back home. His relationship had ended. His life felt stuck. And Thailand seemed like the perfect escape. He had seen the travel videos. The influencers. The smiling faces. The parties. The cheap hotels. He told his friends, "I'm just going for a few months. Clear my head." And at first, Thailand gave him everything he wanted. The days were warm. The nights were loud. The streets were alive. Daniel walked through Bangkok like a kid in a dream. Golden temples. Crowded markets. Food stands on every corner. And everywhere he looked, people were selling something. Clothes. Jewelry. Perfume. Even things that were not legal. But Daniel didn't pay attention. Because he wasn't looking for trouble. Trouble found him. It happened late one night. He was walking back to his hotel after meeting someone at a bar. A man he barely knew. A man who spoke fast. Smiled too much. And kept looking around like he was being followed. Daniel thought it was just paranoia. But then the man handed him a small bag. And said something that made Daniel freeze. "Hold this for me. Only 5 minutes." Daniel stared at the bag. It wasn't big. It didn't look dangerous. But something about the man's voice felt wrong. Daniel hesitated. But then the man leaned in close and whispered, "Please, I'm in trouble. Help me." Daniel didn't want to be rude. He didn't want to look scared. So he took the bag. Just for a second. Just to be helpful. Just to be a nice guy. That was his biggest mistake. Because in Thailand, a small mistake can destroy your life. Daniel had barely walked 10 steps when he heard shouting. Not from the bar. From behind him. Loud Thai voices. Fast. Angry. Then he heard the sound of boots pounding the ground. He turned around. And his stomach dropped. 4 men in dark uniforms were rushing toward him. Their faces were hard. Their eyes were locked on him like he was prey. One of them shouted something. Another grabbed Daniel by the arm and slammed him against a wall. Daniel's shoulder hit the concrete so hard he saw stars. He tried to speak. Tried to explain. But the words didn't come out right. Because fear was choking him. One officer reached into Daniel's pocket and pulled out the small bag. The officer held it up like a trophy. Then he smiled. Not a friendly smile. A smile that said, "We got you." Daniel's face turned pale. He shook his head. "No, no, that's not mine." But the officers didn't care. They didn't listen. They didn't ask questions. They forced Daniel's hands behind his back. Cold metal cuffs snapped shut. Daniel cried out. His wrists burned. He looked around the street, desperate for help. Tourists walked by. Locals looked away. No one stepped in. No one wanted to be involved. Because everyone knew one truth. When Thai police arrest you, you're already in deep trouble. Daniel was shoved into the back of a vehicle. The doors slammed. The windows were barred. The air inside smelled like sweat and old plastic. And as the vehicle began to move, Daniel pressed his face against the bars and watched the city lights fade. Bangkok was still alive outside. Still loud. Still colorful. But for Daniel, Bangkok was already gone. Because the next place he was going was not a police station. It was something worse. Much worse. Oncoming police car the first night in custody. Daniel arrived at a building with cracked walls and dim lights. A place that didn't look like a station. It looked like a cage. Inside everything felt hot. Not warm. Hot like the air had been trapped for years. Daniel was taken into a small room. A fan spun slowly in the corner, but it did nothing. The officer behind the desk didn't smile. He didn't introduce himself. He just stared at Daniel like he was a number. Daniel tried to speak. "I didn't do it, someone gave me that bag." The officer didn't respond. Instead, he pointed at a piece of paper. All Thai writing. Daniel didn't understand a word. Then the officer pushed a pen toward him. Daniel shook his head. "I can't sign that." The officer's eyes narrowed. Then he stood up and slammed his hand on the desk. Bang. Daniel flinched. The officer shouted something loud and aggressive. Then another officer walked in and grabbed Daniel by the collar. Daniel was dragged down another hallway. The hallway was darker. Smelled worse. And the deeper they went, the louder the sounds became. Chains clinking. Men coughing. Someone vomiting. Someone laughing like they had lost their mind. Daniel's heart pounded. And then, they reached a door. The guard opened it. Inside was a holding cell. And Daniel froze. Because it wasn't a cell for one person. Or two. Or even 5. It was a cell meant for maybe 10. But it held over 30 men. They were packed like animals. Some were shirtless. Some had bruises. Some had scars. And every single face turned toward Daniel. The room went quiet. Not normal quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your blood run cold. A man near the back stood up slowly. He was tall. Thin. Covered in tattoos. His eyes were dead. He stepped forward, staring at Daniel like he was inspecting meat. Then he spoke in English. Slow. Clear. "New guy." Daniel swallowed. The guard pushed Daniel inside. The door slammed shut behind him. And Daniel realized something terrifying. He wasn't in Thailand anymore. Not the Thailand tourists see. He was in the real Thailand. The one hidden behind locked doors. And this was only the beginning. Because the Bangkok Hilton wasn't even the first prison. This was just the waiting room. The place where men break. Before they are sent to hell. Fire Chapter 1 Cliffhanger Ending. Daniel backed into the corner of the cell. His breathing was fast. His chest felt tight. The tattooed man stepped closer. The other prisoners watched silently. Then the tattooed man leaned in and whispered, "If you have money, you live." Daniel blinked. "What?" The man smiled. A cruel smile. Then he pointed to the ground. A dirty blanket. A small space near the toilet. And he said, "That is your bed." Daniel looked down. The toilet wasn't a toilet. It was a hole in the floor. And the smell almost made him gag. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. He whispered, "I want to call my embassy. I want a lawyer." The tattooed man laughed. Then he stepped even closer. And said something that made Daniel's entire body go cold. "Tomorrow, they transfer you." Daniel's heart dropped. "Transfer? Where?" The man's smile faded. And his eyes turned serious. Dead serious. He answered in a low voice. "Bangkok Hilton." Daniel froze. Because he had heard that name before. But now, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a nickname. It was a warning. And the next morning, Daniel would be taken there. Whether he survived or not, would depend on one thing. What kind of man he became before the gates closed. And then the lights in the cell went out. Darkness swallowed the room. And Daniel heard footsteps coming closer. Not guards. Prisoners. Right toward him. The first rule of survival, short version. The lights go out. And in that darkness, Daniel feels the cell change. Not quieter. More dangerous. He hears footsteps moving closer. Slow. Controlled. A voice whispers in broken English. "New guy, you have money?" Daniel shakes his head. "No. I don't." A soft laugh follows. Then someone grabs his ankle. Daniel kicks and scrambles back, panicking. Men around him don't help. They just watch. Like this is normal. Then a loud voice cuts through the darkness. "Stop." Everyone freezes. A man steps forward. Older. Scarred. "Come." The way the others move back tells Daniel the truth. This man runs the cell. He stares at Daniel and says, "In here, no police." Daniel swallows. The man points to a dirty corner near the hole in the floor. "That is your bed." Daniel sits down, shaking. He tries to stay awake, because he can feel eyes on him the whole night. Then, keys, locks. A door screeching open. Bright light hits Daniel's face. Guards start shouting. Men are forced into a line. Daniel is dragged down a hallway full of cages. Inside the cages are prisoners staring out like ghosts. Some don't blink. Some look dead already. Daniel is shoved into a chair at a desk. An officer grabs his passport. Then a camera flashes. Click. Another flash. Click. The officer looks at him and says one word in English. "Drug." Daniel shakes his head. "No. I didn't." But the officer stamps the papers like it doesn't matter. Because to them, it doesn't. Daniel is pulled outside into the burning heat. And that's when he sees it. A prison transport truck. A metal box on wheels. No windows. No air. Just steel. A prisoner beside him whispers. "Bang Kwang." Daniel's stomach drops. The Bangkok Hilton. The prison everyone fears. Guards cuff his wrists, cuff his ankles, then shove him into the truck. Inside, bodies are packed tight. Sweat drips from the ceiling. Men breathe like animals trapped in a cage. The truck starts moving. Daniel tries to stay calm. Until he looks down. A prisoner near his feet is holding something sharp. A homemade blade. The man leans in close and whispers. "Foreigners pay first." Daniel's voice trembles. "I don't have anything." The prisoner smiles. Then raises the blade slightly. And Daniel realizes the truth. He hasn't even reached Bang Kwang yet. But the Bangkok Hilton has already started. Fire Chapter 2 Cliffhanger Ending. The prisoner presses the blade close to Daniel's leg and whispers. "Give me your shoes, or you bleed." Daniel stares down at his sneakers. His wrists are tied. His ankles are tied. He can't fight. He can't run. And the truck keeps moving forward. Deeper into Bangkok. Toward the gates of Bang Kwang. The road to Bang Kwang, short version. The truck keeps moving. The heat inside gets worse. Sweat drips down Daniel's face like rain. Men are packed so tightly he can barely breathe. And now he's barefoot. Humiliated. Weak. A prisoner coughs so hard it sounds like he's choking. Another man starts begging for water. No one answers. Because nobody cares. Daniel looks around and realizes something terrifying. This truck isn't just transport. It's a test. A test to see who breaks first. Then the truck slows down. The engine groans. And finally, it stops. Silence fills the metal box. And outside, Daniel hears a sound that makes every prisoner freeze. A massive gate opening. Metal grinding against metal. Like a giant lock being turned. The back door opens. Sunlight explodes into the truck. Daniel squints and looks out. Concrete walls. Guard towers. Barbed wire. And an entrance that looks like a fortress. Even the toughest prisoners go quiet. A man beside Daniel whispers two words. "Bang Kwang." Daniel's stomach drops. The Bangkok Hilton. The prison people talk about like a legend. But now it's real. Guards pull the prisoners out one by one. Daniel steps onto burning hot ground barefoot. Sharp gravel cuts his feet. A guard notices him wincing. And smiles. Daniel is marched through a yard full of prisoners. Hundreds of them. Some stare like zombies. Some look angry. Some look hungry. Daniel feels eyes on him everywhere. Like sharks circling blood. He is dragged into a building. The smell hits him instantly. Sweat. Rot. Dirty water. And something worse, something human. At a desk, an officer flips through Daniel's passport. Then says one word in English. "Foreigner." Daniel tries to speak. "I need help. I didn't do anything." But the officer doesn't care. Instead, two prisoners with armbands step forward. Not guards. But they act like guards. One of them speaks perfect English. He smiles politely. Too politely. "Welcome to Bang Kwang," he says. Daniel feels a tiny moment of relief. Until the man whispers, "Foreigners are targets here." Daniel's throat tightens. The man asks calmly, "You have money?" Daniel shakes his head. "No, they took everything." The man's smile disappears. Then he says the words that crush Daniel's hope. "Then you will owe." Daniel's breathing becomes shallow. "Oh, who?" The man answers. "Oh, the prison." Daniel is shoved toward a dark stairway. The deeper he walks, the hotter it gets. The darker it gets. The air feels thick like smoke. Then a heavy door opens. And Daniel freezes. Inside is a room packed with bodies. Hundreds of prisoners. No space. No privacy. No mercy. Men sleeping on the floor like broken furniture. Others staring like they've lost their minds. And in the middle of the room, a large prisoner stands up, slowly. His head is shaved. His arms are thick. His eyes are cold. He looks Daniel up and down, then smiles. Not friendly. A smile that says Daniel belongs to him now. The guards shove Daniel inside. The door slams shut behind him. Boom. Daniel turns around. But it's too late. He is trapped. The big prisoner walks closer and speaks in clear English. "New foreigner." Daniel nods weakly. The man points to the floor beside the toilet hole. A space so small Daniel can barely sit. Then he leans in and whispers, "Here, you don't own yourself." Daniel's eyes widen. His voice trembles. "What do you mean?" The big prisoner answers softly, "You belong to Bang Kwang." Fire Chapter 3 Cliffhanger Ending. The big prisoner grabs Daniel's arm and pulls him forward. Not violent. Just control. Daniel stumbles deeper into the packed room. Then the prisoner points to a dark corner. 3 men are sitting there watching silently. Waiting. The big prisoner whispers, "They decide if you survive your first night." Daniel's breathing shakes. One of the men in the corner stands up slowly. Then he says in English, "Come here, foreigner." The entire room goes silent. And Daniel realizes, his real nightmare is about to begin. The first night in hell, final/short version. The room stays silent. Not peaceful silence. Predator silence. Daniel stands frozen as the man in the corner stares at him. Then the voice comes again. "Come here, foreigner." Daniel doesn't move. But the big inmate behind him shoves him forward. Daniel stumbles through the crowd. Hundreds of prisoners watch him like he's a meal being served. He reaches the corner. 3 men sit there like judges. One of them speaks perfect English. "Name?" "Daniel." "Where you from?" "England." The man nods slowly. Then he asks the question that makes Daniel's stomach twist. "You have money?" Daniel shakes his head. "No." The man smiles. Not kindly. "Then you have problem." Daniel whispers, "I just want to call my embassy." The man laughs softly. "Embassy doesn't enter here." Daniel's heart drops. The man turns and speaks in Thai. 2 prisoners step behind Daniel and grab his arms. Daniel panics. "Wait, please." They drag him deeper into the cell, toward the darkest corner, near the toilet hole. The smell is unbearable. The floor is wet. The man points down. "Sit." Daniel hesitates. They shove him down hard. His hands scrape the concrete. Pain shoots through his palms. The big inmate steps close and whispers, "You sleep here." Daniel's voice shakes. "Please. I didn't do anything." The big inmate leans in, eyes cold. Nobody cares. Then they walk away like Daniel is nothing. Like he's already owned. The lights go out. Darkness fills the cell. Daniel holds his knees and tries not to cry. He tries not to sleep. Because he knows sleep is dangerous. Then footsteps return. Slow. Quiet. A shadow crouches in front of him. It's the same English-speaking inmate. He whispers, "You want survive?" Daniel nods quickly. "Yes." The man places something small on the floor beside him. Wrapped in plastic. Daniel stares at it. His stomach drops. The man whispers, "Tomorrow you carry this." Daniel shakes his head fast. "No. I can't, that's why I'm here." The man smiles in the darkness. "You say no." He pauses. Then finishes the sentence like a death sentence. "You don't wake up." Daniel stops breathing. The man stands up and walks away. And before he disappears into the crowd, he whispers one final truth. Bang Kwang is not prison. Bang Kwang is business. Daniel sits shaking, staring at the package. Because now he understands. If he carries it, he becomes part of the prison. If he refuses, he might not survive the night. Then morning hits. Metal slams against metal. Clang, clang, clang. Lights flicker on. Prisoners rise like ghosts. Guards shout. Lines form. Daniel is pulled to his feet. Barefoot. Broken. Still alive. He steps into the yard and sees the sunrise over Bangkok. Bright. Beautiful. Normal. Like the city has no idea what's happening behind these walls. Then Daniel sees new prisoners arriving. Fresh faces. Fresh fear. And one of them is a foreign woman. She looks terrified. Daniel watches her closely. And he thinks one thing. She has no idea what her first night will be like. Daniel looks down at the hidden package in his hands. Then he looks back at the prison gates. And he realizes, Bang Kwang didn't just lock him up. It started changing him. Bang Kwang is called the Bangkok Hilton as a joke. But there's nothing funny about it. Because inside these walls, survival has a price. And Daniel is about to learn something terrifying. Sometimes the worst part of prison isn't the guards. It's what the prison forces you to become.